We're starting tonight with whatever. Okay, you guys, hey, this is the Fourfold Formula Contributing Authors Personal Chat, where I ask them questions and they have no idea what I'm going to ask them. And they share their deep, dark secrets. No, that's not true. That's not true. All right, if you guys have not seen any of the story teasers, I am going to put the YouTube link in the comment section below. And this is our third chat. We have Dianne and Lori and Jacki in the house. These guys wrote 3 true and personal stories for the Fourfold Formula, which is the first book of 3 books in the All Things Wellness series with myself and Markus Wettstein. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Great.
Doing excellent. Okay, so what we get to talk about tonight is like work, life, and play. Like everything that's not serious. That's what we're going to do, is to get to know you a little bit, which makes more of us nervous, doesn't it? Because I have to, it's like, shit, she's really going to ask me questions about myself. All right, so let's go. Jacki, what do you do most of the time during the day? That's kind of a question I start out with. What takes up your hours?
Kind of depends on the day. And I would say the average day, Monday through Friday, would look like I set aside an hour for myself in the morning. I call it my power hour, where I do some form of exercise, physical therapy, as well as something for the mind or the spirit. And so then I start my day. I like to not start it before about 10. And then I have clients. I'm a success coach. And so I start clients about 10 in the morning. And on a really great day, I leave and go have lunch with a friend. And then I come back and might have a little bit more client work. And then I either stay home for the evening and work around the home, or I will go out and meet a friend and enjoy a meal. I like to eat out and I like to serve my clients and see my friends.
Yeah. Living the dream. Is your love language quality time, your primary love language?
Acts of service.
Wow. Yeah, that's the coach in you too. Yeah, quality time's got to be right up there. You're just hanging out with your buds and people a lot. Yeah, that's cool.
I love it. Yeah.
I love it. Cool. I love the power hour. Super duper. Got to get back to that. That's really cool. Dianne, what about you? What takes up most of your day on an average day?
Okay, well, on an average day, a little bit like Jacki in the beginning, in that it depends somewhat on the day, because I'm still working 3 days a week in my pharmaceutical career as a consultant. So once I'm up, as Jacki mentioned, me too, I have kind of that first hour of the day, no matter what the day, but that first hour of the day is for me. And that's whether that's listening to maybe a couple of Abraham Hicks YouTube videos, or Bob Proctor, or something along the personal development line, nonetheless, and maybe read a chapter. And I always have a book on the go. I love to read. I'll never live long enough to read all the books that I want to read, but nonetheless. So then after that hour, if it's one of my 3 days a week in my pharmaceutical world, then that's what I'm doing for the 9 to 5 kind of period. Yeah. And the other two days a week are spent working on my network marketing, business building, and my TED Talk that I'm trying to put together. And so that's virtually.
And then there's Saturday from 2 to 2:05 that you have open. Yeah. That's awesome.
And there's a few minutes through the week, maybe like 3 to 4 days a week, of some running and a bit of weightlifting and a bike ride. So yeah.
Good. Lori, what about you?
I am the office manager of a commercial printing company. And up until March of this year, I was working 2 jobs. So that was a good 11 years that I was doing that. And so now I'm just relaxing, spending a lot of time with my family. My sister said, I've seen more of you in the last 3 weeks than I have in the last 3 years. Right. So it's really nice to slow down and regroup and get some other things done.
it can feel really weird when you've been busy, like 2 jobs for 11 years. It's almost like, well, now, because you have that I got to stay busy kind of thing, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big adjustment. It really, it sounds silly, but it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I get it. Hey, Jackie.
Yes, ma'am.
I know, I was just thinking, what's your favorite memory as a kid? Like up till age 12-ish? Does anything pop out?
Wow.
Right.
A few things. What's landing for me right now is that my dad would take me to in his old Mustang, and we would go to the Dairy Dream and get I could get a double scoop ice cream cone, and it was always chocolate chip. Was it mint chocolate chip and butter pecan?
What is it with we girls that are about ish the same age? Those ice cream stands, like that was a family deal for me too. Like Jay Gould's ice cream bar or Marshall's Corner. You go down and stand in line with your 75 cents. That's awesome. Good. I love that. Dianne, what about you? Do you have a fave memory that pops up to like age 12?
I would say I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' place on my mom's side of the family. We had horses that we kept at my grandparents' place. They, lived in the country about 3 miles outside of town. And I spent a lot of time there riding my ponies and my grandfather in particular being present with us when we were around the horses, and I had it was his brother, so I had a great uncle that was and it had horses as well, and so I was around the horse world when I was a kid. Nothing serious, but just for fun. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
Not all of it. We all didn't have unicorns, Lori and I have unicorns, but we all didn't grow up around horses. Lori, what pops up for you? I know you guys do a lot as family and cabins and that type of stuff. What did you think about when you were little?
Funny that you say that, because there was one year I was in junior high and we decided we were going to have Christmas at camp. And I thought, oh, geez, this is going to be so lame. This is going to be horrible. But we didn't have any lights on the tree. We just we strung the popcorn, and it turned out to be one of the best Christmases ever. There was no distraction, no phones, no, it was really, as a matter of fact, I wrote a story about it in our junior high newspaper, so it was
the simple stuff. Yeah. Whatever we used to fill in the blank with lame when we were kiddos, we would love to do right now, I suspect, right? It's like we've become those parents that are hosting those things that might be considered lame. I don't know. Jackie, what do you think? Do you think the kiddos today still look at that family type stuff as lame, or do you think they kind of enjoy it a little bit any differently than when we did?
My daughter is all about that stuff.
Cool.
She's the sentimental one, and so I don't know. I think she might be I don't know. I think as they get older, like you said, the lame stuff is not so lame anymore.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And but with my son, he's kind of more like, yeah, whatever.
Right. They deep down love it, but they would never, admit it.
Some of the stuff he does love, for sure.
Too cool for school, That's all right, let's get back to, we're going to circle back around, just because obviously you guys did write a story for the book and you're about ready to become best-selling authors, because that's just what I do. I put that out there because it's going to happen. And you wrote 2,000 words of personal story. Dianne, were you a writer before? Did you think you were going to become a writer? Like, what were your thoughts before you jumped into this thing?
Well, the easy answer is no. I had never written anything officially before, but I will admit that maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, I had banged out, I don't know, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 words for a book and saved it on a USB stick. And the only reason why I did that was because at the time I had enrolled in my first, I believe it was my first, we'll say personal development course with a Bob Proctor certified coach. And through that program, I guess I must have talked about, well, this is kind of a story I have and thinking about, and so I did. I as I mentioned, I banged out 4,000 or 5,000 words and saved it on a USB stick, but never did anything with it. So no, I hadn't gotten any further than that. And then Peggy came along in my life, and voila.
You're getting your feet wet, and it doesn't mean that you're.
I am.
Yeah, you're going to go off and do great things. I love your story, and your story is really important for listeners to read. It really is. It really is. Okay, Jacki, coming back to you. So you wrote your story for the book, and you wrote it about a loss. We will tease with that. What are a couple of things you learned about yourself after you finished the process and hit, like, you knew it was the enter, the send, going to publisher? Would you learn?
Well, this doesn't come as easily to me as it used to. And I have been a writer for a long, long time, but I haven't been published since I was in college. And, when I say published, I mean like in the, yearbook or the college, those kinds of things. So there's more judgment of myself now, the older I get, and the more experiences I have, the more people I know, the more experiences that you have with that, because not everybody is going to resonate with the way that I've written my story.
Right.
And not everybody appreciates that I'm actually doing a story and doing something like this. Right. And so it's more and more sometimes really a challenge to say what am I confident in and what am I standing in, and not worrying about what other people think.
Right.
And that it's not necessarily about me. Something.
Which is kind of the opposite of what I was expecting you to say. I was expecting you to say, hey, it is kind of about me. But yet it is what it is. It's like, I think when you and I first talked, I had Sophia on, your daughter, who's also writing in the book. And I had her on the other night, and we were just talking about the greatest example I have in this book about what I've always said is it's your story, your perspective, and tell it before somebody else does, because it's just your version of your story. And it really rings true with you two, because they didn't know, I don't know if you guys know this, they didn't know that they were writing about the same subject because they didn't read what each other was writing. And so as it came into me, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, I didn't even know what chapter to put it in. I was like, do you guys want to go back to back? What's going on? And they're kind of like, well, we haven't read each other's stuff until the night before I did their story teaser video. They decided, we probably should read this. But it is still the best example I had, Jacki, of same story, different perspective, respecting everybody's experience around the same subject. We all have a voice. We need to respect it. It's not about what anyone else or why anyone else thinks we're doing whatever. But thank you for sharing that. I love that. Lori, would you learn about yourself? I know that you wrote in Mayhem to Miracles, which was a compilation book last year. And then you've written for this, and you blogged for me as well on all things wellness. So what do you think as a writer is uncovering or bubbling for you that you're learning?
It's okay to put yourself out there. It's okay to share. That was the biggest thing for me. I said this before in other interviews. I'd never written anything before. Anything. And I wrote the story for Mayhem to Miracles, and I always love to say this. It was accepted within 24 hours. Yeah. And I couldn't believe it. And I was so naive. Like, I had no idea about interviews or anything. It was just my heartfelt story. And it was a tribute to somebody who is really special to me. So whenever all the interviews and everything came, I was just blown away. But the biggest thing is putting yourself out there. And the only reason that I was convinced to even submit the story was because one of my writer, an editor, said, your story is going to help women heal. And she had me right there. Like anything else that I was worried about, what are people going to think of me? People coming, I'm going to say people coming after me, and so I just, I feel the fear and do it anyway.
That's right. That's right. And if anybody's listening, and storytelling, all of that's been going on for us since we were little kids. And if we don't tell our stories, then no one really knows where we are. And I mean, I've had to learn too that you just have to tell your story and come from your heart and have no expectations of who is hearing it. I've had people who are on a couch wanting to hurt themselves and come back a year later and say, I heard something or saw something that you talked about with depression and it really resonated with me. And I'm like, well, what one? Oh, it was like back in 2018. I'm like, what? So it's like, just do it to do it, because you're trying to do the right thing and help people and not have any expectation for the thumbs up or any comment or any of that shit. Just know that you're doing the right thing. All right, so I'm going to let you off the hook. You can go do a shot of vodka. Anyway, we've gotten to know each other just a little bit better, and you guys, the book is really churning around. It's going to come out this summer. Book 2, I'm going to try to get it out by Christmas time. So if anybody wants to write in book 2, you can email me at peggy@allthingswellness.com, or you can hop on to my website at allthingswellness.com/author. We're looking for 30 authors again, same media partners. Love you guys. I'm talking so much. I'm thirsty. So cheers. And we will catch you very soon, my loves. Talk to you soon.